In 1969, humanity landed a man on the moon. This absolutely crazy, previously unachievable task took thousands of PhDs, years of research, and trillions of dollars in combined effort. Not to mention absolute faith and belief in the fact that it would work. Now imagine you making $1 million, earning it while doing what you love and being happy, successful, and fulfilled. Is a life like this really that hard to achieve? Absolutely not. We landed a man on the moon, and you're trying to tell me that you can't make $1 million? Everything you've been taught is wrong.
Hey, what's going on? My name is Dan, and I want to give you a warm welcome back to the How to Make Your First Million course. I hope that you've genuinely been enjoying this course so far. We've covered a lot of very important principles already, a lot of very valuable lessons. In the first few lessons here, in the first lesson we covered embarking on your own personal journey towards your freedom lifeline. I covered how important it is to really set out. Most people don't even take any action. Most people don't even start on that journey. And so the very first lesson was talking about how freedom awaits you, the good life awaits you. There's no reason why you can't be living the good life. And if you were actually following everything that I'm teaching here, if you followed this transformational system, every single lesson you watched, you took action, then in the next 3 months, 6 months, a year, you're going to look back on your life and you will be shocked at how much your life has changed, how much of a better life you're living at that point. And that's because you decided to set out on your personal journey towards achieving your freedom lifeline. And what do I mean by freedom lifeline? Well, every single person has two lifelines. The first is I call it a freedom lifeline. That's the lifeline where you actually set out on your personal journey and you actually decide, okay, that's it. I've committed to achieving success. I've committed to achieving the good life. I will figure out the way in which I'll be able to make the most amount of money possible, doing what I love, helping people through that, and also truly enjoying it because it actually fits into my own personal destiny. Right? So that's what that first lesson talked about. In the following lesson, I talked about how success is entirely a mindset. And the main difference between rich people and poor people, rich people, so people who are on their freedom lifeline, and people who are truly living the good life. I mean, the definition of they're successful, they're abundant, they're living a life of freedom, they have amazing relationships and people in their life, they're waking up with a spring in their step in the morning. What's the difference between those people and the rest of society? And I'm talking about people that are average, people that are really just upset with their life and they're kind of just, maybe not even upset, but just like living boring, mundane lives. And every time they go on Instagram, anytime they go on social media, anytime they go anywhere online, they see all these people that are living their dream lives. And, average people, everybody's on Instagram, everybody's on Facebook, everybody's on social media nowadays, right? They're just like glued to their phones. If we would have imagined that, according to the theory of evolution, thousands of years ago, we would evolve from gorillas, who would have imagined that thousands of years ago, we were cavemen, cavewomen running around, hunting. We were, killing predators. We were protecting ourselves and our families. We were building shelter. We were basically just fighting for survival every single day. And it was truly the survival of the fittest. Who would have guessed that we would have been doing that thousands of years ago? And today, we're couch potatoes that are eating chips and just eating junk food glued to our phones, right? That's literally the average person. Everybody's on social media. Everybody's seeing what's possible. Everybody's seeing, wow, these select few people are living this amazing life. They're truly living their dream lives. How can I get that? And we covered that it's basically the mindset, right? Success is a mindset. And once you realize that it's not about the business that you get into, it's not about the best stock to buy, it's not about buying Bitcoin or some kind of cryptocurrency, it's not about buying some course, it's not about that. It's about the mindset. That's what it is. Okay, so that's the most important thing to understand, that success is a mindset. And if you set out on your journey, like we discussed in the first lesson, and if you also accept the fact that success is a mindset and that anyone can learn the mindset if they want to, and if they actually put in the effort, then now you're at a new place in your life where you're already so much further ahead than everyone else. In a society where standards are so low, it really doesn't take that much more work, that much more effort compared to everyone else to succeed. And I can tell you, truthfully, that's how it is. In the previous lesson, I also covered the ultimate enemy of success, and that is what I call drifting. And basically, it's devastating. Most people are currently drifting in the world. And what that is, how that looks like, is they're basically walking around through life not really going into any clear direction, not really knowing what they want out of life. They're trying different things, they're kind of doing like 3, 5, 10 things at once, 3 businesses at once. They're trying to make money here and there. Nothing seems to work. That's how most people live their lives, and that's exactly why they don't get what they want out of life. That's exactly why they're not successful. They're not on their freedom lifeline, which is the entire point of this program. It's not about making $1 million. It is about setting you and getting you to that freedom lifeline where $1 million will just happen as a result of your self-development. That's what this course is all about. Now, if you stumbled onto this course just from, navigating through YouTube, you went down the YouTube rabbit hole one day or one night, and suddenly you see me, you see this guy named Dan Vas talking about success, talking about how to make your first $1 million. Welcome to the program. My name is Dan. I'm a 24-year-old successful entrepreneur and YouTuber. I'm a CEO of a multi-million-dollar company where we've helped tens of thousands of people start successful online businesses and reach the good life. I personally went from broke, lost, unfocused, $40,000 in college debt at the age of 20 up until now 24 years old, being the CEO of a 15-person company where we generate millions of dollars, and that's not even the most important thing. The most important thing is that we've changed the lives of tens of thousands of people in helping them start their own successful online businesses. I've also been sharing my journey, making YouTube videos during the past several years about all the best mindset and success lessons and topics that I've been learning myself along my journey, and I've been sharing all of that here. And so far, I built this channel at the time of me making this. We're currently sitting at about 270,000 subscribers, which is truly, truly amazing. I literally remember like yesterday, I'd make a video and I'd get maybe 7 views. I would do a live stream and I would literally get 1 person watching. Right? So for me, this is crazy to imagine. I never could have imagined this. But this is what happens when you actually set out and go on your freedom lifeline. I set out, I committed to success, I burnt my bridges, and I said, that's it. I will achieve success and I will figure out what I'm meant to be doing in my life. And now I'm feeling happy, grateful, and blessed that I'm able to sit here in this beautiful cabin in northern Norway in this absolutely epic and inspirational location, and I'm able to share these lessons with you. The most valuable lessons that I've learned along my journey. If I had this at the age of 18, 19, this would have shortcutted, this would have saved me so much time. And it's not like it took me that much time to succeed. I just pushed it, right? I just ran. Once I set out on my journey, I was running, right? Some people it takes a few years, some people it takes 5 years, 10 years, right? All of our journeys are different. But if I had this at 18, I would literally give up everything I have today just so that I had this at 18, because I would have reached success even earlier. I would have, wasted less time pursuing things that were not in my favor. If you're brand new to this course, I want you to make sure that you watch the course in order. So if you haven't watched lesson 1, 2, and the previous ones before this, make sure that you start off with lesson 1. It's very, very important that you watch the entire course step by step, lesson by lesson, and you only want to watch 1 lesson per day, or else it's just going to be too much for you to process in one sitting, in one day, and then your brain's going to be overloaded, and it's just going to be more tempting for you to give up. So make sure that you're just doing 1 lesson per day. I designed this course in that specific way because layer by layer, we are reprogramming your mind together. As you're going to be going through this course, your mind is going to be reprogrammed into the mind of a millionaire, the mind of a billionaire, the mind of a successful person who is in the top 1% of society, not only by wealth, not only by money, but also who is living the definition of the good life, which is a happy and fulfilled life, doing what you're meant to be doing, making millions of dollars doing it, helping people around the world through your craft, through your product or service, doing it through business, preferably online business, because we live in the age of the internet, and it can be so many things. You can literally do any business nowadays online, right? Any niche. It's just incredible. So that is the point of this course. Now let's get started with this lesson. And I want to start this off by saying that in this lesson, I'm going to be showing you the most powerful exercise of this course by far, and the most powerful exercise that you've probably done in your entire life. I'm going to show you how to plan out your dream life, how to write it out on paper, and how to decide exactly what you want, and how to know that is what you're meant to pursue, how to know that that's aligned with your freedom lifeline, how to know that that's actually going to bring you on that lifeline, and how to know that this is what you're meant to be doing. Where after doing this, you will have a newfound feeling of peace, a newfound feeling of excitement and comfort, knowing that you are headed towards your personal destiny. You're perfectly aligned with your freedom lifeline. So before I get into this exercise, I want to talk about this specific example, and I mentioned this a few times before in the program. If I walk up to any random person on the street, let's say in New York or in LA or in Toronto, where I grew up, right? If I just walked up to someone and I asked them, where do you see yourself in 2 years? Most would have absolutely no idea. Most people have absolutely no idea, and they would say, probably they'd reply something generic, right? They would just say, oh, I want to have a nice, comfortable job, a nice partner that loves me, maybe a child or two children, right? If they're already like in their 20s or in their 30s, right? If they don't have kids yet. So these are just like very generic answers that people would give, right? They're really asking for the bare minimum. And for most people, this question really would throw them off guard. I mean, for them, it's just like, whoa, like, this is a very deep question. And since they don't know how to come up with an answer, they'll kind of just automatically reply, whoa, that's deep, I don't even know. I'll tell you right off the bat, not knowing where you're headed in life is precisely the number one cause of failure. And as I discussed in the previous lesson, this is drifting, the definition of to the T. What's going to happen is that life will throw you a random outcome. If you don't sit down and you don't consciously decide what you want out of your life, you really like force yourself to decide. It's almost like that's it. You're planning out the script of your own movie. If you don't consciously decide what it is that you want, life will throw you a random outcome. And chances are it's not going to be something that you're going to be happy with in the next few years. Right? That's just how life works. Believe me. Right? Ask anyone who is kind of miserable, who's kind of like, looking for a way out of their current situation. Ask them, hey, did you plan on being here? They'll say no. Nobody plans to be broke. Nobody plans to be miserable. Nobody plans to be average. And nobody plans to, have these problems in their life. Right? At the same time, nobody plans to be successful. And that's precisely the cause of failure. Nobody plans out their dream life. And the people who do achieve their dream life. If you set a target for your life, you will achieve it, okay? So picture this. Imagine that you get into a car, and let's say that you get into a car in New York, okay? Just in a suburb of New York. And, you get in, and you just start driving. One evening, you just start driving at 7 o'clock, and you're just driving around. You drive around for like 3 hours, okay? At 10 o'clock, and 3 hours later, you look up, and you're just on a random street. You have no idea where you are. You check your phone, and your GPS shows you that you're 20 minutes away from your house. Okay, so basically, you spent 3 hours, and you're just 20 minutes away from your house, and you just drove around mindlessly for 3 hours without any destination. Okay, but imagine now that you sat in the same car at 7 o'clock, and you opened your Google Maps, your GPS, and you put in Los Angeles. Okay, in a day of driving, you'd already be probably after a day, it'd already be like close to Chicago. I actually did this drive. So you'd actually be close to Chicago, somewhere there. And then later on, you'd be in like Iowa and Nebraska. And then you would be in Colorado and then eventually Arizona. After about a week of driving with sleeping, obviously, you'd get to LA and you'd get to your destination. Even though at the beginning, you put that into the GPS and it's like, geez, that's very far away. And that's a lot of hours of driving. That is what happens when you program a destination for yourself. And most people, they're just like the first example. They're driving around in a car with no destination. You can't do that in your life. You can't. And I was doing this for the longest time. When I realized this, I'm like, wow, this makes so much sense. I should really decide what I want out of my life. And I will do my best to achieve it. And guess what? I achieved everything that I wrote down. And that's what this exercise is going to be all about. We're going to sit down and you're going to write down your dream life to the T, what you want. And the best part is that you can get anything you want. It's as if you had a Christmas list and literally Santa Claus would grant you any wishes you had. That's the best part. As long as it's, it doesn't even have to be realistic. As long as it's possible. If it's possible, you can have it. Believe me, when I wrote down that I would have $2 million, I'd make $2 million. I wrote that down in 2000 and I think it was 16 or 17. And then, within the next 2 years, I had made over $2.5 million. For me, that was crazy. Definitely unrealistic, right? Over 90% of businesses fail. We've all heard that statistic, which is actually just a lie propagated by the 9-to-5 prison, right? That's all it is, right? This whole 90% of businesses fail. That's just like regular people trying to discourage people from finding their destiny through entrepreneurship. Because in this life, entrepreneurs are the ones that are the most rewarded, right? And the best part is that, it doesn't matter what you're good at. You can combine your signature strength with entrepreneurship. Let's say that you are incredibly fit. Let's say you love fitness. Perfect. You can start a fitness-related business. You can do coaching online. You can launch your own product line of supplements. You can do something with e-commerce, right? There's so many possibilities, and the internet makes things so much easier. It makes things so much more scalable because, having a website, having a web presence, it's like being able to sell products 24/7, and you don't even have to consciously do it. When you throw up a sales page, for example, like a Shopify store, just as an example, right? Like, as opposed to retail, you can actually sell your products 24/7, even when you're sleeping. Someone from China, someone from Afghanistan, and someone from Zimbabwe can go on the site and buy your products, right? But meanwhile, with retail businesses, the business has to be open for someone to actually be able to come in and buy the product. And that's the main reason why retail businesses are going bankrupt, because e-commerce is unbeatable. I mean, it's the greatest revolution going on right now in terms of technology and business. For me, the most liberating moment of my life was when I realized that I could have anything I want, anything, as long as I consciously planned to have it. And basically, as long as it was possible. Didn't even have to be realistic. In that moment when I realized that, my life is entirely up to me, and it's not up to my boss, it's not up to my university degree, it's not up to my circumstances, not my family, nobody. All my anxiety and stress went away because I realized that it was all under my control. I could do it all myself. As long as I ventured out on my personal journey, and as long as I committed to learning the success mindset. I had to learn the principles, the proven principles of the greatest people on this earth. So in this lesson, and by the end of it, you're going to set your life on the right path, and you're going to basically decide exactly how your life will look like in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, and 10 years, knowing that you will achieve all the goals, you'll achieve everything that you write down, like a Christmas list with unlimited, like literally you can have anything you want, anything you write down on there. And this is part of being a non-drifter. This way you're going to set a destination for your life, and you're finally going to concentrate your energy into heading there, nowhere else. Like once you've decided, your stress and anxiety will go away, guaranteed. And I realized that my stress and anxiety that came with my quarter life crisis at age 20 was because I was moving, I was spending my energy, and every day I would kind of put it into a different future life vision of mine, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And then when I actually sat down and I opened a notebook and I wrote down Dan Vas, age 24, and then I wrote down the year. So I wrote down 2020. At the time, I was 21 years old, so this was like 3 years time. Everything I wrote down, I achieved. And after I wrote all those things down, like I'm a successful entrepreneur, I am a millionaire, I'm doing what I love to do, and I'm happy and fulfilled and things like that. I'm fit, I'm healthy. All of those things that I wrote down, setting that life vision, just wiped away all my stress and worries and anxiety, because every single day I'd wake up and I'd jump out of bed with an excitement into my step, and I would just be so happy and so grateful that I decided what I wanted to do. And my future was getting better and better, and it was getting more and more amazing and closer to that dream every single day. And that's exactly the same feeling you'll have. So let's begin. The first step in the exercise is you want to find a notebook, okay? And if you don't have a notebook, go out and buy a notebook. And you want something that you're not just going to lose. Like you don't want to grab a random sheet of paper because we all know what happens to a random sheet of paper. You're just gonna lose it, and everything that you wrote down is just going to be in the garbage, and you're going to forget about it. So you want to buy a notebook, and it can be this size and it can be a little bit bigger. I recommend something a little bit bigger than this. This is actually the one that I use to plan out my days. So you want to grab a notebook and you want to open it to the first page, okay, right here, and then you want to grab a pen. And what you want to do at the top of the notebook is you want to write down your name. So I'd write down Dan Vas at the top. On the next line, you want to write down year, and then you'd put like 2 dots, so a colon. And then you'd fast forward 2 years. So you'd write down whatever the year is in 2 years from now. And what you want to do is you want to really close your eyes, and you're going to want to pause this video after I explain the exercise. And you're going to want to think about everything you want from life, and literally anything. And you want to think about what your ideal life, your most ideal life, your dream life, what it will look like exactly in 2 years. Now, one thing right off the bat, if you write down, I'm a successful entrepreneur, and for example, I'm a successful entrepreneur making $10,000 a month, right, from my business. You don't have to know the how. The how is not as important as the what. So, when I wrote down, I'm so happy now that I have made $2 million, by the end of 2018, that was 2 years from 2016 when I started. I had no idea how I would actually make the $2 million. But because I learned that the how is not as important as the what, everything just kind of came into place. And after I wrote that down, in the weeks that came, and the months that came, and in the years that came, it's almost like my brain or my mind or the universe, I don't know what, but it kind of, everything corrected. My course corrected automatically, and it brought me towards my dream life, exactly what I wrote on the paper. And so ever since then, I've planned out my entire life. I know exactly where I'm going to be at 50 years old. That's what I currently have. So 50, 60 years old, I know exactly where I'm going to be. After that, I haven't really planned that out yet. So we could say almost my entire life. And as you're writing your dream life down, you want to make sure that you set yourself an income goal, okay? So whether it's, how much money you have in your bank account, how much money you would ideally want in your bank account, write that down, write it down. The first amount that I wrote down in my bank account was that I want to have $100,000 in my bank account. At the time, I had like probably $3 in my bank account. So 100,000 for me, I was like, does anyone have $100,000 in their bank account? Because I haven't seen it before, right? So that's what I wrote down at the beginning. I also wrote down that I would make $2 million by the end of 2018. So you want to make sure that you have income goals and also maybe a bank balance goal. Maybe like a total amount of money made, from your business. You also want to write what you're doing, so like your career. Right? So for most of you watching this, you are probably interested in entrepreneurship. And if you are, that's amazing. That's great. I'm an entrepreneur and I can tell you it's certainly the best way to live. I think that even if you don't think you want to become an entrepreneur, and I assume that most of you watching this do want to become entrepreneurs, but if you're unsure, I can tell you that no matter what you want to do, there is an entrepreneurial way to do it. Right? You can combine business with whatever you're doing and it will allow you to live a life of freedom, be your own boss, and to basically live life by your own design. That's the best part about entrepreneurship. And also to obviously, grow a company and experience like the rewarding feeling of that and hiring people and then, helping your customers and really building something valuable for the world. So highly recommend you really consider becoming an entrepreneur. But I assume for most of you, you already are. So you're gonna write down, I am a successful internet entrepreneur making, and then you can write down an income goal. So you can write down $10,000 a month, you can write down 20. This is in 2 years, right? So you can write down like $100,000 a month. I mean, that's possible. You can write down, $200,000 a month, right? I'd recommend not going crazy, okay? I would say that my $2 million goal was on the edge of believability, right? The fact that I did make $2.5 million the first year and a half. Like, yes, most people will not, but if you are confident, if you think you can, then write it down, right? Even if you think you can't, you might be self-sabotaging yourself, so write it down anyway. In my experience and from what I've seen, and I've helped thousands of people, actually millions of people with this exact exercise, I think I've had more people in the world doing and practicing, setting their dream life than anyone else, like literally setting destinations for their lives. I don't know why this isn't taught in schools. Like we're literally taught useless garbage in schools on how to like memorize random dates and memorize random names of presidents. And we're not taught how to pay our taxes, how to deal with money, and how to live a good life. But, that it is what it is, right? So you want to write down. I'll give you an example. Let's say that, my name is Dan today. I'm starting from zero. This is what I'd write down. So I am a successful internet entrepreneur making $100,000 a month from my online business. Okay, next line I'd write down. I am traveling the world, living the life of my dreams, making more money than I ever imagined, and I'm doing it with location independence from my laptop. That's fully possible for any of you watching this, any of you. Like I'm telling you, that's the beauty of the internet. And the fact that you're here on this channel, I've got plenty of videos that you should watch after this program where, I literally break down the steps into making that happen for yourself, into generating passive income and building a successful online business that actually allows you to do that, where you're making thousands of dollars a day, even tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month if you want to, and doing that from any location in the world. All you need is a laptop and an internet connection. If you already know what business you want to pursue, let's say you already know that you want to do e-commerce and that that's where you're going to be successful, then you can also write down, from my e-commerce business, you can be specific. If you don't know, just leave it open and the universe will align itself and it will put you on the right path for you. Eventually, after trial and error, you'll find the right business for you and it's going to be on your freedom lifeline. So it's going to fit you. It's going to suit you. You also want to have relationship goals, spirituality goals as well. You want to have experience goals. So like if you've always wanted to go to Fiji, I've been to Fiji, amazing place, incredible, like so beautiful. I think every single person should have the chance to go out there and experience Fiji because it's one of the last clean and pristine tropical places in the world. And that's just something that I've been able to do. I actually wrote that down when I first planned out my dream life. I wrote it down that I am so happy now that I'm traveling the world, visiting exotic locations. I wrote down Bora Bora, I wrote down Fiji. I didn't go to Bora Bora yet. I will. I could easily go like tomorrow if I wanted to, but I'm in Norway now and it's amazing to be here, to be honest with you. I wrote down, I think Norway as well. So if you want, you can be specific. If not, you can be general. But the point is, you want to write down what your life looks like. So just imagine you kind of wake up in the morning and what does the life of Dan Vas in 2 years look like? Or Chris, or Susie, or Jessica, or Ashley, right? So, just write that down. Make sure that you really pause this video and write it down. Now, I know that some of you might be thinking, okay, like I think this is useless. Like, how do I know this is actually true and it's going to happen for me? I'll be honest with you, I really don't have proof or an explanation of why this works so damn well, but every single person that I got to, to perform this exercise, and they actually did it, they've achieved what they wanted to achieve. Every single person. So I don't see how you could be an outlier unless you really choose to be an outlier. And if you do choose to be an outlier, what you're doing is you're choosing unhappiness over happiness, you're choosing unfulfillment over fulfillment, and you're choosing the sale of your dreams for a mediocre paycheck and for a mundane, mediocre life. That's what you're doing if you're not performing this exercise. And I also, if you don't want to perform this exercise, close this video. I don't want you here because I only want people on the rise. I only want people who, as they're watching this, their soul is lifted. Their soul is inspired, and you feel like you're finally getting the answers that you've been looking for forever, and it's finally here for you. The stars have aligned. You got here to this part of YouTube, and you're watching this, and your life is changing every single lesson, every single day that you're watching this. I'm building the world's most successful freedom and success movement of all time, and I want people who are on the rise, who are talented, who have amazing strengths, who are just amazing all-around people that I can form a mastermind with, and then we can all get together. Also, maybe in Fiji, maybe in Iceland, maybe in Norway. It'd be amazing. So that's who I want watching this, because I know that there will be a tremendous amount of millionaires who come out of this. There'll be a tremendous amount of people who find what they love and what they've always been waiting for. They'll find the solutions. They'll find the keys to their version of the good life. And that's what I'm so excited to hear. I'm so excited to get those messages from people. I hope that that's going to be you. I hope. But it's up to you. Now, there's also the natural element of fear. And as you're writing down your dream life in your notebook, as you're writing down your goals, and as you're writing down the things that you want to be doing in 2 years and how your life looks like, you might be feeling this natural emotion of fear where you think that, whoa, it's just scary for me to even believe that I can achieve these goals, and I don't know what it's going to take, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to actually do this. And that's totally normal. And the best way that I figured out to actually fight off that fear is something called the contrast bias. So for example, let's say that you set yourself the goal of becoming a millionaire, making $1 million, right? And I want to remind you that no matter who you are, no matter if you're a man or a woman, no matter if you're from the United States, you're from Canada, you're from Russia, you're from Norway, you're from China, you're from Afghanistan, you can do it. No one can tell you that you can't. No one can stop you. With today's world, you can make $1 million online from anywhere, literally from anywhere. It doesn't matter if you're in Afghanistan, in Zimbabwe, in Brazil, in Canada, in the US. Yeah, okay, it might be a little bit easier in the United States or Canada, like in a developed country where you have access to stable internet and things like that, but you still can do it if you're from a country that is less developed. That's my point. I want people who rise up from those countries, because those countries are on the rise, second and third world countries, they're on the rise. There are so many people out there who are ambitious and who want to succeed, and they will. And I genuinely hope that this course will be that turning point for them. So about the contrast bias, let's say that you set yourself the goal of making $1 million, and you wrote that down in your notebook, okay? And that's in 2 years. So you're gonna make $1 million in the next 2 years. And if you have a level of fear about that, right, it's normal. Like I said, it's normal. But what I want you to think about is, first of all, is making $1 million impossible? No, it's possible. Just like the same thing, a lot of people, they have this fear of never meeting the person of their dreams, never meeting their soulmate, right? Is meeting the woman of your dreams possible? Yes, absolutely. Is meeting the man of your dreams possible? Yes, absolutely, right? If it's possible, then you should go after it. You should do it, and you should believe that it will happen to you. This is it's common sense, right? But common sense is not so common. And also, this is part of the success mindset that you're learning right now. You can see that, I guess, the common sense that you develop having the success mindset is something that the rest of the world doesn't really have, because they don't even, they don't think positively. They don't think in this way. They think in a very fear-based way. They think in a very scarcity-based way. They don't see the world in the same light as us. If we think about the $1 million goal, think about this. Just take this in for a sec. We've sent men to the moon, and we've sent rovers to Mars, and that's how many millions of kilometers away, right? Literally millions of kilometers. We're about to send humans to Mars. Maybe by the time you're watching this, we already have humans on Mars, right? And who knows where we're going to head in the future. You know how much that took? That took trillions of dollars from around the world, governments cooperating with each other, thousands of PhDs, thousands of incredibly smart people. And I mean, the risk of failure was tremendous. All the chances were against them when they sent a man to the moon, when they sent Neil Armstrong to the moon in the 1960s, right? But because they were so determined, I think it was JFK, John F. Kennedy, the president of the United States, he was so determined to sending a man to the moon that he said, I will do anything. We will do anything as a nation to do it. And they did it. It's amazing. And the fact that they did it proves to you that is making $1 million possible? Absolutely. We've sent a man to the moon. The human species did this. And, we did this together. And you are afraid of setting this small goal of $1 million, even though, yes, it is definitely a big goal. But in general, relative to what we've been able to achieve as a human species, this is small, right? Same thing with meeting the partner of your dreams, meeting the woman of your dreams, meeting the man of your dreams. We've sent a man to the moon. And you genuinely are afraid of the fact that you think it's impossible for you to meet the man or the woman of your dreams, right? Obviously, it doesn't make any sense. Of course, $1 million a year is still a big goal. And what the most successful people in the world do, and when I learned to do this, I actually started doing this myself, and it really, really helped me a lot, is breaking down our goals. So let's say if you set yourself the goal of making, let's just say $1 million a year. You want to build an online business that makes $1 million a year, and you want that to happen in the next 2 years. If we break down $1 million a year, how much is that in a day? Okay, so $1 million divided by 365, it's approximately about $3,000 a day. Assuming that you're working, let's just say 10 hours a day, it's going to be approximately $300 an hour. That's how much you need to earn per hour if you're working 10 hours a day to earn $1 million in a year. And that's, of course, selling your time for money. The point of this program is not to put you in a position where you have to sell your time for money at $300 an hour unless it really is part of your freedom lifeline. Like I said, everybody's journey to success is unique and success looks different to everybody. But we can all agree that the good life involves money, success, wealth, fulfillment, happiness, great relationships, health, and fitness, right? All of these things, and love, of course. So that's an amazing thing to do. Break down your goals. Let's say you already know that you want to start an e-commerce business, and I've got my phone pulled up here. I'm just going to do a simple calculation. Let's say that as part of that 2-year plan, you know that you want to start an e-commerce business, or you want to start a coaching business, right? We'll take the example of e-commerce, and let's say you wrote down that you're making $10,000 a month from your e-commerce business, okay? So $10,000 per month. Let's say that you're selling a product, let's just take as an example, that costs $25. I would say that's like the average of the product being sold online. So 10,000, okay, divided by 25, 400. That means that you have to sell 400 units in a month, okay? And if we divide that by 30, because there's 30 days approximately in a month, okay, that means that we have to sell 13 to 14 units a day. So, the question is it really impossible for you? You really think it's impossible for you to sell 13 units a day? Of course not, right? And at that point, you'll be making $10,000 a month. Of course, that's revenue. That's not profit. We're not going to get into that right now. Profits with e-commerce are roughly between 30 and 50%. So if you actually wanted the profit figure, you would just double that number. So it'd be 26 units in a day. But that's not that hard at all to sell. I reached that point personally in my own e-commerce business because that's actually what I started. When I was looking for online businesses to start, I started an Amazon FBA business, so selling products on Amazon. I reached 26 units in my first 3 months of sales, and then it grew to 50 and 70 units, and then it kept growing as I added more products to my portfolio. So remember, anytime you're afraid of a goal that you set, anytime you think, you have like these limiting beliefs that come in and they're like, can I really do this? Just remember, we landed a man on the moon. Just remember that we brought rovers to Mars, that we've done things as a species that are so unimaginable. Even just like the fact that the Wright brothers, they were able to fly a plane. That was impossible for thousands of years. Humans were unable to fly. And then we did it. We figured out a way to fly, to literally push ourselves against gravity and create this flying machine that now all humans around the world use and enjoy. It's amazing. And by breaking down your goals, aiming to sell, let's say, 12 units a day if you set that goal of $10,000 a month with e-commerce, or aiming to earn $300 an hour if it was $1 million per year, and that's obviously in a 9-to-5 scenario. But breaking down the goal allows you to feel far more realistic about the goal, and also it makes it much more achievable in your mind in comparison to, this big goal of making $1 million in a year. If you allow your mind to become overwhelmed and defeated from the very beginning, you've already lost. Like the most important thing is that you stay motivated and you follow everything here in this program, because it will set you on the path to success. I guarantee it. Don't overcomplicate things. There really is no need to. Just make it easy for yourself. Write down that 2-year vision like you did, and just, believe that it's going to happen. That's it. And you might be asking me like, okay, Dan, well, don't I have to actually make it happen? It's not just going to manifest. Of course. But once you actually set a destination for your life, your mind will kind of set you on autopilot. Your body will kind of, you'll go on autopilot towards that vision. And every single day you'll be doing those actions, all that work that's required to get there. It's not going to feel like work to you. You're just going to be on autopilot getting there because it's going to feel enjoyable to take those actions that will take you to your vision. Now, you know how I mentioned to write down your dream vision 2 years in advance. The best thing to do is to actually basically start off from the furthest time horizon away. So, the absolute best thing to do by far, and the best way to apply this exercise is to actually sit down and, let's say if you're 20 years old today, write down what your life will look like at 80. Literally decide your entire life. And I know that's an enormous amount of pressure. Most people can't do it. Like I said, I decided my life up until about 50 or 60. I know what my life's going to look like. After that, I don't know yet. I will set that vision later. We'll see, which is also fine. But I know that the best thing to do is to basically try to look as far ahead as you can, and write down like the oldest age that you can think of where you'll have a dream life for that age. So I recommend you try it. Sit down and let's say if you're 20 years old, try 50 years old. So write down, Dan Vas and then 50 years old and write down the year. And that's pretty crazy, right? When you write down the year, like in however many years it is, if you're 20 today, it's going to be in 30 years. It's pretty crazy to think that you're going to be alive at that age, right? And obviously nothing's guaranteed. I genuinely hope that you're going to be alive. And if you write down that vision, then you will, I hope. Who knows? Anything can happen. And that also kind of gives urgency to this. Like that's why you really need to set out on your journey. You really need to, put in the work day in, day out. You really need to search. If you search, you will find. Remember the quote, Matthew 7:7. So try it out. Write down what your life will look like from the furthest time horizon away. And then once you've written down that dream vision, what you want to do, let's say you wrote down what your life will look like at 50 years old, go back 10 years. So what do you need to do? What do you need to be as a person at 40 to achieve what you want at 50? And then go back again. What does your life look like at 30 to achieve the things you want to achieve at 40? And go all the way back down to your current age. And then that way you'll see how your 2-year vision stretches out over a long time horizon, and you'll see where you're headed. And the possibilities are insane. I mean, even if you're 30 or 40 or 50, there's a tremendous amount of time, right? Your life will drastically change just in the next year, I guarantee you, after you watch this program. So just knowing that, right, even if you're 65, it's so inspiring, it's so encouraging. Now, if at any moment when you're doing this exercise, if you're doubting the exercise or if you're doubting yourself, this is, remember I talked about Outwitting the Devil, the book by Napoleon Hill. This is what, honestly, I will call the devil trying to take a hold of you. He's trying to basically kind of grip you like this, and he's trying to make you a drifter. That's what this is all about, okay? And you don't want to allow yourself to be paralyzed by fear and by indecision, okay? Indecision is the mother of all fear. You want to make sure that you're concrete about what you want out of life. Anytime you're embarking on your own path to success, anytime you're about to do something that is good for your life, that is aligned with your freedom lifeline, you will face limiting beliefs. You'll face fears. That's a good sign. It's telling you that you're doing something right because it means that you're getting out of your comfort zone. If you're taking actions that are not making you get out of your comfort zone, there's not going to be any fear or any limiting beliefs involved because, you're kind of like staying in a nice, safe place. But whenever you're venturing outside of your comfort zone, your brain is like, whoa, and the limiting beliefs, right? It's just trying to keep you safe. It's just, instinct. It's how the human mind evolved over the thousands of years that it evolved. Now, just to prove to you how effective this exercise really is, like planning out a destination for your life, I want to share with you some of the things that I wrote down and that I was able to achieve. First of all, I did become a successful multimillionaire entrepreneur by age 24. That's what I am today, and it's honestly incredible. Like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I could never even imagine. I could never imagine that was possible in my life. I'm the first person in my family to accomplish this, and I can tell you that I hope that it serves as inspiration, massive inspiration for you. No matter who you are, no matter where you're from, no matter what your past is, that you can do it as well. Another goal that I wrote down is that I have over 100,000 YouTube subscribers, and I'm proud to say that I have well over that. I have over 260,000 YouTube subscribers at the time of me making this video, and that number is growing every single day. And my next goal is 1 million subscribers now, and I'm sure that we're going to get there soon. And I'm so excited. I'm so happy because not for my subscriber count, not for my ego, but it's because I know that my information is reaching people all around the world. I'm so happy about that. So that's something else that came true, and I blew well past that goal. Something else that I wrote down is that I'm traveling the world and creating epic content, doing what I love, and also running a very successful online business while doing that. And that's what I've been doing. I achieved that, which is amazing. As I'm doing right now, I am, this is literally my job. The fact that I'm in this beautiful cabin in northern Norway, I'm preaching freedom. I'm sharing all this, the most successful lessons that I've learned in my own journey with you, and I'm able to do this. I'm so blessed. I'm so incredibly grateful to be able to do this, to have you watching me here, to be able to record this on this amazing equipment, and to be able to have the freedom and the money to actually make this happen. It's amazing. This is what can happen when you're on your Freedom Lifeline. Another thing that I wrote down at the time when I was starting out is that I would live in my dream apartment in Arizona, and I did that. I accomplished that in my first year. I actually, I wasn't even making that much money. I was making 6 figures per year. That's like, my first significant amount of money that I reached with my online business. I was making 6 figures per year, multiple 6 figures. And then I drove down to Arizona and I moved into my penthouse apartment down there, and it was beautiful, beautiful mountain view. And I lived there and it was just amazing. I mean, it was incredible. One of my favorite places in the world. I still have an apartment out there. So that's something else that I wrote down that came true. Then after Arizona, I wrote down that I'm living in my dream penthouse apartment in Vancouver, and I did. I moved to Vancouver, Canada because I wanted the seasons and I wanted to come back to Canada, which is my home. And I never experienced Vancouver at the time. I grew up in Toronto, which is completely different. Vancouver is more of an outdoor city. You got the ocean, you got the mountains. And so I moved there, and I mean, it was just incredible. I lived in the Trump Tower in downtown Vancouver, which unfortunately closed in the pandemic, just like, many hotels went out of business. And I lived there on the 50-something floor with this incredible mountain view. And I invited my friend Michael. He came over, and he was just like blown away by the view. And to see my friend, to be able to have my friend there, like living with me there, it was just incredible. Like just the smile on his face, right? Happiness is real when shared. And the fact is, when you're on your Freedom Lifeline, you're going to be able to share your happiness and your abundance and your wealth, with your closest friends, and it's going to feel amazing, right? And you can help them also through that achieve their Freedom Lifeline. So that's something that I've also accomplished. I also wrote down that I'm going to, I'm so happy now that I have my dream motorcycle, and I have 2 Harley Davidsons. I have 2 Harley Davidson V-Rod motorcycles. They're incredible bikes. I went on a cross-country road trip across Canada just this past summer. It was an amazing time, and it was incredible to see the country like that, and also to be making thousands of dollars every single day while doing that, and to have complete and total freedom. All right, so that was something else that came true for me. Another goal that I wrote down was, of course, you got to have a car goal. I wrote down, I'm so happy now that I have my dream Audi R8. And funny enough, when I actually made enough money to buy an Audi R8, I test drove the Audi R8, which in Canada, I think right now it's like $250,000. It's a lot of money. I test drove it, and as soon as I sat down, I never sat down in the thing, right? Because, when I was broke, obviously I'm not going to go for a test drive for the Audi R8. No one's going to let me. I sat down in the thing, and I'm 6'2", right? So I'm tall. A lot of people, when they meet me, they're like, "Whoa, you're much taller than I expected from the videos." So I'm 6'2". I sat down in the Audi R8. I was like, "No way! This is just a liability. I feel so cramped in here. Like, this is not a car that I want." And I remember that I went over a tiny speed bump, and we scraped the bottom. I'm like, "Nope, screw this." And then I came back to the Audi dealership right after the test drive. I'm like, "Guys, do you have anything that's just like more fun and more chill than this?" And the salesperson said, "Yes, I got the perfect car for you." He brought out this absolutely beautiful convertible. It was an Audi S5 Cabriolet, like a convertible, and it had like these beautiful red leather interior seats, and it was just top notch. It just came out of the factory in Germany, just came on the boat to Canada from Germany. And I sat down, and when I test drove it, I fell in love. It was incredible. And so that was, I guess, another goal that came true, even though I didn't get the R8. That's just because I realized that on my Freedom Lifeline, the Audi R8 is not for me. It's for someone else, but not for me. What was for me was the convertible, because that was something that was just more relaxed, and it was truly like, a pure enjoyment of life vehicle. That's what it was, right? Later on, I got a lifted truck, but I'm not going to keep going about my vehicles. It's just material things. But, I want to show you and I want to prove to you by saying these things that every single thing I wrote down came true. Every single thing. And it's crazy to imagine that what I have written down now is also going to come true. And I don't want to share those things yet because I don't like sharing them before they come true, but we'll see. And I want to come back and say it. So as you can see, this stuff really, really works. And it is so powerful, so transformational. I've seen this change people's lives on a massive scale, and it will surely change yours. Now, one thing I do want to say is that, it's easy not to do these little things. Like, writing down your dream life and performing these exercises, it's easy to just watch me talk and not do this and pretend as if your life will improve when it's not going to. If you can't do the little things, how can you expect to do the big things, the big changes that are necessary for you to actually, make your life better? So these are all things that are so easy not to do, but they're also so easy to do. And the price of not doing these things is massive, okay? So sometimes, especially right now, You've committed to watching this. I want you to commit 110%. I want you to be one of those people that comes back here in a year and says, Dan, you've truly changed my life. And I mean, I'm so incredibly grateful for you. And then, you can join our movement. You can, we can create a mastermind. And I know that so many people's lives will be changed from this program. And I want you to be one of those people. I also want to remind you, don't worry about how you're going to achieve your goals. Don't worry about the how. Just focus on the target and let the how figure itself out. Like I said, when you consciously decided to embark on your journey, you gave the universe, you gave life permission to align your life. You kind of trusted in the world, or, if you're Christian, you can say you put your trust in God. If you're not Christian, you can say, whichever God that you respect, right? You can say you put your trust in that higher being, right? And this is, like I said, this is not a religious thing. This is meant for all people. Everybody's lives can be changed from this and benefit from this. This is not something that's to do with a specific religious denomination. But my point is that when you do this and you don't worry about the how, you're placing your trust in everything working out, and everything will work out. That's all you have to know. That's all you have to worry about, because it will, believe me. Now, the next part of this exercise, and this is incredibly, incredibly important as well, equally as important as writing out your vision and your visions for your life. What you want to do is you want to look at your 2-year goal, and you want to write down the person that you have to be to achieve that goal. Because to achieve anything, to achieve any new identity that we set for ourselves, you have to be that person, right? Or else there's a disconnect, and you want to erase that disconnect. You want to shed your old identity and adopt this new identity so that everything will come to you. So think about the person that you have to be and write down what you have to do on a daily basis to achieve that 2-year vision. Okay? So for example, for myself, I wrote down read self-development books, invest in courses and paid programs, in mentors, because I knew that I didn't have the knowledge to do it myself. Right, so I wanted to start an online business, and then I invested in multiple e-commerce courses, and that's how I got my start, right? And then I also wrote down, I'm waking up early. I decided to consciously wake up at 4:45 a.m. every day and go to sleep early, because I had a problem with staying up late at night and waking up late, and I would waste a lot of time. By the time I went to the gym in the morning, it'd already be like 3 p.m., 4 p.m., and the whole day's gone, right? So that's what I wrote down. So think about all those habits that you need to develop and you need to have to achieve that 2-year vision that you set for yourself. What kind of person, what kind of Dan is the Dan that will achieve that 2-year vision, right? And obviously, I'm replacing Dan with your name, but write it down, pause the video, and come back to it as soon as you're done. Okay, now that you've done that, what I want you to do is invert. Think about the version of you that does not become successful and what it's doing, and write it down. So below all those things, write down, what do I need to do to not become successful? Write down all those things. For example, drinking, or staying up late and waking up late, right? For some people it works, for most people it doesn't. I recommend waking up early and adopting that, because there's just something about waking up early and just getting that time in the morning to yourself, practicing your goals, writing down your goals. And I'm going to get to my goals and visualization routine here in the next few lessons. Super, super powerful with my playlist and everything. Super excited about that. But write those things down. A perfect example of the principle of inversion is, let's say, you want to lose weight. So, you would think about, okay, how would you not lose weight? Think about what you would have to do to not lose weight, basically, gain weight. So I won't lose weight if I eat junk food. I won't lose weight if I eat large portions. I won't lose weight with an exercise-free lifestyle. It's called the principle of inversion, and it's super, super powerful. I think this was actually invented by Charlie Munger, which is Warren Buffett's right-hand man. He wrote an amazing book called The Poor Charlie's Almanac. It's really expensive. You can find it on Amazon, I think, for at least $100, $200. It's like a blue book, but this is Warren Buffett's right-hand man. Warren Buffett is the world's most successful stock investor of all time. So all of his most valuable, most life-changing wisdom that he wrote there, Charlie Munger put it together in The Poor Charlie's Almanac. That's the only book that he actually ever wrote. And there's going to be a link down below, just like for any and all other books that I recommend here in the program. That one is a little bit expensive. You don't have to get it at the very beginning, but I definitely recommend prioritizing it, because you will read it and you will be, you're literally getting the knowledge of a billionaire in a book, in a condensed format. And also, this is even more valuable, you're saving yourself from making costly mistakes that you would have otherwise made if you didn't read the book. So that's it. You've done the exercises. So isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing to know that you've written down your dream life, you know exactly where you're going? It must feel amazing to have this, and I had this amazing feeling when I wrote down my vision first, right? Now you feel at peace. Now you should have this feeling where, okay, I know where I'm going. And this big hurdle that I had where I was undecided, I was living my life undecided, not really knowing where I was going, Now it's set. All you have to do is believe that it will come true, and it will come true. How exciting does it feel that everything you wrote will come true? And every single day that's coming will lead you there. Anything that you've seen someone else have, you can have as well. And that's the secret to life. But you need to follow the success principles. You need to follow the proven principles. It all comes down to conquering your limiting beliefs, following those success principles, getting into the success mindset, learning it. Always remember the man on the moon principle. We landed a man on the moon, and soon we're going to land a man on Mars, and a woman as well, right? By man, I also mean woman, of course. So that's it. You've performed the exercise. You've set your dream vision. You've set your dream life, and I'm so excited for you to achieve it because it's just amazing the peace that you get and the excitement that builds every single day as you continue down your own personal destiny where you will achieve your freedom lifeline. It's just amazing. I'm so excited for you. Now, your vision might change over time, and that's totally okay. Right? That's totally fine. Because as your freedom lifeline and what that looks like becomes clearer and clearer, then you'll have a better idea of what your vision will actually look like. In 2 years, likely it won't change that much. You already know the things you want in 2 years. I'm talking more about the things you want in 5 years and 10 years. So don't worry about that too much. Just focus on the 2 year for now. That's really the most important one. By doing that, you've made yourself a non-drifter. Now you've stopped drifting. If you were drifting before, you've set a concrete goal for your life, and now you are well on your way to success. Life is getting better every day, and I am so excited to have you come back here and message me on my Instagram, on my Facebook, in a year, maybe even in 6 months, and tell me, wow, Dan, thank you so much. Your YouTube free course, How to Make Your First Million, changed my life, and I'm infinitely grateful. That's what I want to see. It makes me so happy, and that's the reason I do what I do. So thank you for watching this valuable lesson here in the How to Make Your First Million course. If you liked the video, if you liked the lesson, leave me a like. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel. Then you will never miss any video that I put out because I'm always putting out incredibly valuable videos, lessons directly from the success mindset that I'm learning as I ascend higher and higher in my own life. What I want you to do, and remember, it's so important to take action, right? I talked about this before. It's easy to not do the small stuff, but it's also easy to do it. And the price of not doing the small stuff is massive, right? I want you to leave a comment down below, and I want you to tell me what your biggest, most significant goal that you set for yourself in the next 2 years is. All right, so just take anything that you wrote down from your 2 year vision and write it down, like what your life looks like, what your biggest goal is. It can be a financial goal, it can be a life goal. Maybe you want to travel the world and make money while doing it. Maybe you want to become a millionaire. Maybe you want to find your spiritual purpose. Write it down. And I will go there and I will reply to as many comments as I get. It's a good way of communicating with me. I find that the YouTube comments are a great way to engage with people and engage with my audience and my viewers. Also, if you want to get my daily wisdom, if you want to get just like new daily success tips that I'm kind of learning myself and success principles that I'm learning every day, I have a Facebook page. The link's going to be in the description down below. Basically, there you'll be able to communicate with me. All you have to do is just like the page and reply to any one of my posts. I post every single day, and I'm posting amazing quotes, the best quotes that I'm learning, and like amazing life lessons. You can reply, and I'll be able to comment back. And I'm always on there commenting back, so it's an amazing chance for you to communicate with me. If you have any questions at all, you can ask me. Maybe you need some help with like your life direction, or maybe even with your exercise. I'll be happy to help you on there. Recently, I've also started sending out a weekly email. I call it the Weekly Freedom Email. And I basically put together all the most significant life lessons that I learned that week and the things that I've been doing, and it will help push you to higher and higher ranks of success. So I call it the Freedom Email List. You'll be able to join down below. It's free. So if you want me to send you valuable life lessons, valuable principles, books to read, and my recommendations every single week, once a week, and it's not spam, it's not garbage, right? It's like really valuable stuff. Believe me, I hate spam as much as you. The link is going to be down below. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you're genuinely enjoying this How to Make Your First Million course. And from the bottom of my heart, I thank you for being here. I thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next lesson. Make sure you're watching one of these lessons a day, no more than that. So if this was your lesson of the day, just close this, go on about your day, and that way you'll come back refreshed tomorrow for the next lesson. Thank you so much. I'll see you again tomorrow.